All right, folks, let's get real. Imagine rats the size of your arm, rubbish piled high in the streets, and the country's biggest union branding Labour not on the side of workers. Today we're going deep into the clash that's exposing a massive rift inside Labour. The Birmingham bin strike that's seen Unite suspend Angela Rayner and threaten to pull millions in party funding. Whose side is Labour really on? And what does this tell us about a party that claims to be for working people while bin men face pay cuts and agency replacements? Stick with me as we unpack this, because the truth isn't what you're hearing on the news. First up, what's actually going on in Birmingham? Bin workers in England's second city have been on strike since January. By March, it turned into an indefinite walkout. The result? Mountains of bin bags, rat infestations and stinking streets, especially in poorer areas. This isn't a small dispute. It's about real money for working class families. Unite says the Labour-run Birmingham City Council's plan would cost around 170 workers up to £8,000 a year. Imagine taking that kind of hit on a bin driver's wage. The council says the losses would be smaller and only affect 17 people, with pay protected for 6 months. But even their own numbers admit some workers will lose thousands. Unite's General Secretary Sharon Graham didn't mince words. She's called out what she says is classic fire and rehire. The council has been hiring agency workers to cross picket lines while threatening bin men with redundancy if they don't accept worse terms. That's the same tactic unions have slammed private firms for using, only this time it's a Labour council doing it. Graham says Labour can't claim to be for workers' rights while running what she calls a rogue council that lies about its workers and cuts their pay. So why did Unite suspend Angela Rayner? Rayner is the Deputy Prime Minister and Labour's Deputy Leader, but she's also been calling on striking workers to accept the council's deal, saying Birmingham has moved significantly to meet their demands. Unite says she's taken the council's side instead of the workers. At their policy conference, the union voted to suspend her membership. And not just hers, they also suspended the membership of Birmingham Council leader John Cotton and other Labour councillors involved in the dispute. It's worth noting Rayner's team says she'd already resigned from Unite in April, so the suspension is mostly symbolic. But the message is clear. The country's biggest union donor is at war with Labour's leadership. And this is where it gets serious for Labour. Unite isn't just any union, it's Labour's biggest historical donor, having given over £70 million raised from members. It donated around £2 million in the year before the last election. If Unite pulls the plug on Labour funding, it's not just about the money. It's about grassroots support, boots on the ground, and credibility with working people. The union's motion says it will reconsider its entire relationship with Labour if Birmingham Council forces through redundancies. For a party already fighting off the Tories and Reform UK, losing Unite's money and manpower is a massive threat. And let's be clear, this isn't just about bins in Birmingham. It's the tip of the iceberg of a much bigger split. Unions are increasingly frustrated with Keir Starmer's government. They're angry about talk of welfare cuts, the threat of a raid on public sector pensions, and a workers' rights agenda they say doesn't go far enough. The Fire Brigades Union and the TUC have been calling for a wealth tax instead of spending cuts. Meanwhile, Labour leadership is desperate to look fiscally responsible. They're terrified of spooking business or middle-class voters. It's the same old tension. Trying to be all things to all people while forgetting who actually built the Labour movement in the first place. But let's not forget the council side. Birmingham City Council effectively went bankrupt in 2023 thanks largely to massive equal pay claims. Now it's under the control of government-appointed commissioners who oversee its finances. Council leader John Cotton says they've reached the absolute limit of what they can offer without risking another financial crisis. While they talk compromise, the reality on the ground? They've used agency staff to keep collections going. Recycling collections have been suspended for months, and poorer areas still have piles of rubbish rotting in the summer heat. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth Labour doesn't want to face. It can't claim to be the party of workers, while its councils are threatening bin men with redundancies, hiring agency staff to break strikes and telling people to accept pay cuts. Unite's Sharon Graham says Labour isn't on the side of workers. And honestly, a lot of people in Birmingham right now would agree. Labour says they've improved workers' rights nationwide, but for the bin men on strike, that doesn't pay the bills or clean the streets. So what does it tell us? Labour is in the middle of an identity crisis, desperate to look responsible to business and Middle England, but risking the trust of the working class base that built it. Unite suspending Rayner is just the latest flare-up in a civil war over who Labour is really for. As voters, as citizens, we should be asking hard questions. When push comes to shove, whose side are they on? Because for the bin men in Birmingham, the answer doesn't look like Labour. If you found this breakdown useful, hit subscribe, share it around and drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side do you think Labour is on? This is TruthCast UK. I'll see you next time for more no-nonsense, straight-talking news.